Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4000 Week Reich as the Nation of Israel. I'm trying to click the little... You see what I mean? Let me move all these guys down there. It is very inconvenient to touch. There, or select these little states. I can appreciate why they needed to do this, but no, if there we go. Yeah. Anyway, last time we were here together, my friends, we started organizing our economic future in Israel, and it's going okay-ish. We got a lot to rebuild, a lot to reassemble. We're working currently on getting some intel into Europe to figure out the extent of the horrors that happened in Germany, outside of communism, of course, which might be about to kick off. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, you know, Germany, they're democratic again. They shouldn't be a problem. Oh. Concentrate industry. Well, this is going to be interesting. Well, in a turn of irony, the Jews in those countries whose leadership decided on collaboration instead of conquest fared better than most. Countries like Italy and Hungary, while not friendly towards Jews in the slightest, were never directly controlled by Germany, and as such, their Jewish populations were spared for the most part. In turn, these countries have also become hubs for the few amount of refugees who flee from the Nazi-occupied territories in the east, but these refugees are unwelcomed by the locals who see them as a threat. Our nation is young, and while time is dwindling for those who are trapped by the beyond the Reich's curtains, we simply do not have the resources to rescue them at this time. Though something tells me they're probably going to be okay. For now, we must make sure no more fault of Nazis grasp, lest Hitler's former allies begin to take an interest in his domestic policies. They will all be brought home. So we're going to get some waves of immigration coming in. Alright, let's get working on some of these constitutional debates. I think those are going to be the very important ones. On that note, let's start the timer. We have a nationalization debate. The nationalization of key industries is something a majority within the Knesset and government have agreed upon, but the details are yet to be decided. Some are calling for a widespread nationalization of all major industries, while others propose a more selective approach. We must make our initial decision on how the new Israeli economy should be structured. That's going to be the question, isn't it? Corporation of Southwest Africa. Well, hold on there. That's a breach of UN agreements. They get cores on that for doing that? No, they don't. So I don't even know why they did it. We have a Cyprus emergency. Well, the Nationals are... With the security situation remaining so tense, many argue that every resource of our country that can be utilized for defense must be. This led for calls for some mass nationalization of industries that can be used for defense purposes, bringing them under the control of a government in order to coordinate their most effective usage for the defense of our country. Of course, such a move is controversial among many. It would be a major infringement on property rights and potentially a spanner in the work of our young economy and society to so rashly seize productive wealth from our own population. Others, however, insist that this is simply assessing such a dangerous world. What's History Dude looking at now? Yeah, we're losing most That civilian factor is great. I don't think it's worth the hits to everything else. Well, if we give up our freedoms, you know, what's left? Next, let's do the question of the military budget. Threats from Europe and the rising potential for another round of Arab aggression, the generals demand double the funding for the armed forces. But as teachers strike over empty classrooms and Haifa's slums swell with malnourished refugees, further increasing military spending will be politically difficult. The Knesset haggles over every lira, approve the budget and risk protests, reject and risk annihilation. A path forward must be established. Sadatist Charter. Okay, so they didn't do the counter coup. We are looking at the Sadatist. Al Jamali. So it looks like they're sticking with oh fuck, that's my boy though. Fuck, I lose him no matter what. Oh shit. The fascists are stepping down. Look at that. Okay, well, as the nation winds down from the War of Independence, has become clear that it will not be the last time we will have to fight for our survival. Surrounded on all sides by hostile Arab states, many fear that another war is inevitable. Now the question remains on how exactly we should prepare for this eventuality. The pie is largely split on this issue, while leading General Yigal Yadin's demand that one-third of the nation's budget should be allocated to the military is absurd, despite his threats to resign. Ben-Gurion's orthodoxist faction still believes in a substantial military build-up to deter further aggression. Meanwhile, Moshe Sharat's more dovish reformists believe that we should focus on diplomatic solutions and economic development, arguing that our military buildup would only provoke our neighbors. Let's stay the present course. We must be strong. National unity will rise. We'll get control over the party increased. And we lose our fucking field marshal. Okay, let's let Galili in here. Boy, I'm sorry I doubted you. I'm glad we kept you. You're a real one, Galili. That other animal, I can't even say his name. How are we doing in the meanwhile on... Mapai is currently neutral. I want to go down the Orthodox route and get Meir in, I think. Moshe is not happy with us currently, but that sucks, doesn't it? Let's look at the politicization of the army. As political factions descended from wartime militias vie for influence, this has inevitably influenced the army. Left-leaning commanders stockpile arms in kibbutz armories. Revisionists whisper of preemptive strikes against Arab militias. Ben-Gurion warns that a divided army invites collapse, so therefore we must unite it. We'll work to tackle the politicization that has plagued the young IDF, turning it from a roughly united group of militias into a true unified modern army. That I can get behind. Alright, let me look at my... Here go the Finns. Fuck yeah, let's eradicate the fascists. Fascism's end, question mark? Alright, I'm gonna delete this template. I'll save that for now. Let's get working on exercising these guys in the meanwhile. So we have some options here. We have a wave arriving from Greece. Amidst a steady stream of volume arriving from across the world, in recent waves, a large wave of Jewish refugees has arrived from Greece to make Aliyah. With Italy having distanced itself from German influence following the end of the European wars, the protectorate in Greece was able to prevent the deportation of Jews, most of which lived in the once Jewish majority city of Thessaloniki. Still, varying levels of persecution against Jews has still become widespread, and many fear that the situation could worsen again in the case of a German rapprochement. Organized by our government, a fleet of ships has been arranged to bring tens of thousands of Italian Jews home safely. Italian, I thought these were looking at the Greeks. I guess they might have came from Italy. Yeah, okay. The only question left being of where to settle them. Let's settle them in the cities. Let's do it. We have plenty of room in the periphery, but I want to make sure we keep some Ashkenazi dominance going. At least for a bit. Although we could probably spare... Can operate a recruit. What do we want? Some guys with a couple different nationalities. Heck yeah, we will send you... You build some intel... Build some intel in Munich. Alright, in the early days before the formation of a state army, the militias of the Jewish community were closely aligned and associated with their political movements. For example, socialist militias were loyal to the Haganah movement, while there were revisionist Etzel militias on the other hand. This, of course, is an untenable situation for a unified state. While much progress has been made depoliticizing these militias and integrating them into a non-political armed forces, it's time to finish the job and wipe out any last residues of political loyalties within the military units. Yeah, okay. That I'm okay with. Now let's do the party leadership issue. Mapai's old guard cling to power, loyal to Ben-Gurion, but young radicals decry their caution as cowardice. Underground Irgun veterans agitate for militant expansionism. Marxist factions strike to force land redistribution. Meanwhile, whispers swirl of Ben-Gurion's declining health, and who might inherit his mantle. For now, Ben-Gurion remains utterly dominant within the party, but this is causing some discomfort. What is this? I've never seen these guys before. What the hell are they doing? Eradication of European fascism. Beautiful. I love to see it. So it's going to be Croatia, Serbia, and Romania on the chopping block. Speaking of Romania. Okay. Where do we want to send them? From Romania, unlike in Hungary and Bulgaria, the Romanian legionary government has actually participated in the Shoah, and as such, the vast majority of Jews in the country have likely either been sent to death camps or been forced to labor. We have room in the periphery, so let's send them to the periphery for now. We still have some Ashkenazi dominance going, so we can spare that currently. Excuse me. I think... Are we... I can hear myself. Okay. My, the cord of my microphone is... I've seen better days, so I was worried. I keep It's getting knocked in and out. Okay. A new political movement is development as tensions bubbling within the Mapai party have bubbled to the surface. A high-ranking Mapai members, among them Moshe Charette and Pinchas Lavon, have collectively challenged Ben-Gurion's increasing concentration of power within the party, calling for more accountability and sharing of power. Offended by his increasing dominance, they have demanded that power is spread more evenly across the high-ranking Mapai officials. Their movement certainly has its supporters, but whether or not it will be heeded by the majority of the party is an open question. Ben-Gurion is our supreme commander. There we go. I was looking to go to this because this seems like it's going to be interesting. Let's counter the Fedayeen. And then we'll head down to the Harari decision. Following our victory, Arab militias have begun to spike across the border, sponsored by neighboring states. The army has responded with curfews and reprisals, but each burned village births 10 new insurgents. Hawks demand iron wall tactics, minefields, deportations, and collaboration with Bedouin trackers. Doves push for amnesty and clandestine talks with Jordan. Neither guarantees survival in a land where mercy is seen as weakness. New strategies must be found in dealing with this problem. Got some more guys coming from Italy. Let's see. Italy had distanced itself from German influence during the end of the European War. The Jewish community of the country has mostly been spared from outright genocide. Still, varying levels of persecution against Jews has still become worsened, and many fear that the situation could worsen again in the case of the German-Italian rapprochement. Well, we'll go with the periphery again. Getting some nice population in the Negev. Equatorial African. Okay, yeah. We'll increase security. We're doing fine on command power anyway. You guys doing okay? Doesn't look like you are. Bulgaria's joining the ETC. That's nice to see. Alright, let's go ahead. Yeah. With Hungary having distanced itself from German influence following the end of the European War, the Jewish community of the country has been spared from outright genocide thanks to protection of the Horthy government administration. Still, varying levels of persecution against Jews still has become widespread. Yeah. We'll settle them in the cities this time. We're running low on city space, but want to keep some Ashkenazi dominance. Keep that going. Try to find a decent balance. I'm thinking I'm going to stick with the Mapai, and so I don't want to weaken that if I can avoid it. Plus the National Union will be nice. Here we go. We have Jewish refugees from Bulgaria. Bulgaria having largely avoided any major involvement in the Second World War. The Jewish community of the country has mostly been spared from outright genocide thanks to the actions of Dimitar Peshev and Tsar Boris. Still, varying levels of persecution against Jews has still become widespread. Many fear that if they reproach, the Jews will be re-persecuted. Let's settle them in the cities once again. What is... Oh, that's the army experience, right? Ever since our implementation of martial law on our Arab villages, the Fedayeen militias that have been partaking in cross-border raids against us have begun to adjust their strategies. Now, instead of hiding among civilians in Arab villages, they have begun to sway the populace of those villages to act as distractions while they slip back and forth across the border. This way, while soldiers are distracted with meaningless upheavals, the Fedayeen are able to attack their logistics and farms unopposed. If we are to defeat these terrorists, we must change our strategy too. Numerous ideas have come up to solve these issues, with most members of the general staff and cabinet coalescing into two blocks. The first block, supported by Muhammad-aligned generals and more reformist-oriented party members, calls for negotiations with Arab community leaders, trying to sway the Arab populace to our side, but displaying the destructive and upheaval caused by the constant raids. This approach, while the more moral option, will do little to display our resolve to neighboring states who may view as capitulating. The second block, supported by Orthodox Party members, calls for our own cross-border reprisals against our neighboring states. Moshe Dayan, a supporter of these reprisal operations, has expressed that retaliatory action is the only way to convince Arab countries that, for the safety of their own citizens, they should not work to stop Fedayeen, they should work to stop, rather, these infiltrations, stating that we are not able to protect every man, but we can prove that the price for Jewish blood is high. So, this is more reformist. This is more orthodox. Well, let me look at the Knesset. United Workers' Party. This is Mapam. They're cool with us, at least. Progressives seem to like, well, I mean, they're in our coalition, that makes sense. The general Zionists seem to be a little more agnostic to us. Let's enforce reprisal operations against neighboring states immediately. Next, let's do the HoI decision. Rather than draft a full constitution immediately, the Knesset has decided shall postpone the work on changing the constitution, giving committees more time on writing separate articles piecemeal. This piecemeal approach breeds contradictions: army conscriptions, class with yeshiva exemptions, women's rights erode into local councils, but for now, given political realities, it is the best way forward. What did that end up doing? They're still cool with us. The communists are cold. The Italians have joined the UN. Well, let's just... Oh, there we go. That's what I was expecting to kick off soon enough. Has France joined the Toronto Accord? They haven't. They're still doing fucking Eurovision still. Armenia joining the UN. How novel. Good on them. Work on more encryption. Let's work on engineer companies as well. I think those will be an excellent addition. Ferrari decision. Alright, let's get working on the new front line. Just as the many Jews escaped the darkness of Europe, others escaped the vengeful Middle East, fleeing pogroms in the Levant and discrimination in Yemen and Egypt. Mizrahi Jews flood into Israel, bringing language and traditions alien to the Ashkenazi elite. Synagogues split, markets clash over kosher standards. Beneath the cultural strife, security services fear fifth columnists, Arab spies, or even Nazi saboteurs hiding among the desperate. Well, I don't know how much we have to worry about Nazis at this point. But despite these costs, we must aid our people. Preparations must be made to accept and process large numbers of Mizrahi Jews from across the Middle East and North Africa. How are our spies doing? Still establishing some spy networks. Okay. There we are. Well, Europe has become a black hole where the greatest horrors unfold. The fate of the Jewish people in the Middle East has also taken a clear turn for the worse in recent years. Radicalized over our victory in the recent wars. Let's go ahead and expand those cities. And with some even inspired by the Nazis and other European anti-Semites, attacks on ancient Jewish communities across the Arab world have escalated. Some are being wiped out entirely, forced to flee, becoming refugees who arrive at our shores and our borders. We'll continue to welcome any of our people returning home with open arms. All Jews are our brothers. They are welcome home. I believe, yeah, these are... Let's negotiate with Iran. Iran's secret police dangle exit visas for Persian Jews in exchange for Israeli arms to crush Tuda. Oil flows. If Mossad turns a blind eye to Slovak torturers, their opponents in just dire straits are equally willing to compromise with us. We'll work with the embattled governments of Iran on any side of its political conflict to negotiate the immigration of willing Jews to our country. You know, I gotta say, I don't know if I'm really worried about... I don't know if I should be worried. I don't think I'm worried. Guaranteeing you a membership. Alright, let's send these to the towns in the periphery for now. A democratic takeover of Greece. Do they get a focus tree now? No. Not yet. Okay, well, ever since Cyrus the Great liberated the Jewish people from the Babylonian exile and was declared a Messiah of our people, Persian-Jewish relations have fared much better than our Arab counterparts, with Iran being a safe haven for persecuted Jews in the East. Now, however, with the outbreak of civil conflict due to the Iranian government's increasingly growing ties to Germany, the condition of the Jews in the country are rapidly deteriorating. Despite the triumph of the anti-fascist coalition, violence and discrimination towards Jews still continues. Okay. Be it by communist rebels or the government. To make sure the situation is not worsened, we must begin negotiating with both the government and the Jewish community leaders to begin the aliyah of the Iranian Jews. Their war is not ours. But, their troubles are about to become ours. And we will see as we go on the wings of eagles. Yemeni Jews trek through hostile deserts to British Aden, where battered C-46s await. Pilots brave the desert air to airlift thousands of Yemen's crumbling synagogues. Each flight is a gamble. Overloaded planes, sandstorm crashes at Riyadh's RAF, yet every arrival wrapped in prayer shawls, clutching Torah scrolls, rekindles the miracle of Exodus. Okay, yeah, you start preparing for this operation. You guys get on that. Meanwhile, we will get on helping out more of our Jewish brethren in the next video. I'm gonna let things play out a little bit more in the game as we wait, though. I think that's enough. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. If you like, if not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments or feedback, leave in the comments section below. Are you guys gonna give that back to them at all? No. Okay, Rab. If you like, dislike. If you didn't, leave me comments, feedback down in the comments section below. I read all comments again, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the description box below. Leave any comments or feedback down in the comment section below as well. And hit the sub button for uploads weekdays as well as occasionally Saturdays. I'm going to leave that there for now, but thank you as always for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Dogboat333. I'm going to stop exercising the armies because we can get our 20 wins now. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.